It has been too long, my friends. I have a list of what I did get done and what I didn't. This book was one of those books where you just want to rant about it. Hey everyone, this is Alice. It has been too long, my friends. I've been away since the beginning of March. I had some medical things come up, which put me in the hospital. Then I had to have surgery, minor surgery. And then came back out and had to readjust to my schedule. And then I also started school for my bachelor's degree. And I am graduating this month with my associate's degree. So we got a whole lot of life events that have come up and have changed things. So it's exciting, but it's also put some stuff on the back burner, which I did not plan. I did not want that to happen, but you gotta get yourself right before you can do anything else. So that's the update of that front. I will tell you that whole TBR that I did for March, your girl just did not do it. Okay, hear me out. So we returned all those books to the library, all of them. And I didn't really read much in March at all, besides the little bit I did get done, which I have a list of what I did get done and what I didn't, so I apologize ahead of time. But I will say that around April 20th, your girl got busy reading. Okay, I read 8 books. 8 books. And the span of 2 weeks, maybe. So that's like a book every 2 days. There was 2 poetry collections and 6 books. And we lowered the books because I have the 100 book challenge on Goodreads. So we have lowered that from being 16 behind to now 8 or 9 books behind. So we're doing good. Still want to get above where I'm supposed to be, but we'll split hairs later. I will say that I am glad to be back reading, and I'm about to do a little wrap up of what I did read in April, so you guys will get a gist of where I'm at. Y'all guys know how I do my star ratings. My 1 stars or why did you write this? Like, why is this even a thing? 2 is I disliked the book. There's something that I didn't like about it. 3 is I liked it, but I'm not invested in it. I'm not gonna pick up a next book for it. I'm just not. And 4 stars is I loved it. It was amazing. But it's not gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. I'm not gonna recommend it to people unless I find an audience for it. 5-star is I am not going to shut up about this book. I'm going to read every single book in the series, even if the rating falls. I am going to read it. I'm going to finish the series. I'm going to hold this book higher than I hold other books. It hit something with me. It is registered into my soul. That's what a 5-star does for me. Now, and what I'm doing. So, the books I read in April, I read Crank by Ellie Hopkins. And I'll put that book picture up on the screen for you. It was just addictive to read because if anybody knows about these books, they are poems. They're poems written in story form. So the pages are little stanzas, verses, and each one is a poem in itself. And there's like 500 and something pages in those books. And I finished Crank in a day, 24 hours. And then I got to the library to the next morning. It was gone. Read it all. And then the next book that was on the list I read was Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I think I gave this book a 3 because 3-star. I hate it because I wanted to love the main character. I wanted to love Charlie. I really did. She went through some hard times. Things happened. You know, her character development is not the best. But she's just unlikable. I don't like what she did. I don't like what happened. But you can understand it in a way. But it's just the whole point of this book was wild to me. And I just don't like it like that. But I'm glad I read it. It was my first Riley Sager book, and I felt like I didn't choose the right one to read. Because I had The Lady Across the Lake, I think, on one of my TBRs, but I never read it. So, that's my problem. But the next book that I read was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And this is a 5-star for me. This book was one of those books where you just want to rant about it. You want everyone to hear you. You want to say, hey, have you read this book yet? When I tell you that it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when I was on the phone with my fiance, ranting to him about this book, I said, now, everything that happened in Act 1, I laid it out for him. And then the next day, I laid out Act 2 for him. Like, the transition to get to, if you know, you know. It was just heart-wrenching, and I swear everything in there felt like it deserved to be an adult book, but I understand why it's a YA, only because, like, the age of the character, I think, is the only reason it was a YA. But it was just really good, and I'm glad that I got the chance to read it. And the next book that I read was Root Magic by Eden Royce. This book, my god, guys, for a middle grade book, it really pulled at your heartstrings. It made you value family. And I think it's a good book for anyone to read. Honestly, adult, teen, child. Like, it was just really that good. Our main character, Jezebel, is just the sweetest little girl. And this book was just so cute. And I can't wait for my Charlie to get old enough to read this book. Because she's gonna love it. And then the next book that I read was The Girl from Widow Hills by Megan Miranda. This book was not. It's like a beginner's thriller. Like, if you are just starting out thriller genre, this is the book that I would recommend for you to read. The only thing that really stuck out for me was the very end of this book was just the best. It's the only thing in this book that saved it from being a 2-star. I gave it a 3-star just because of the ending. It was amazing. Now, the next book that I read was One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. Guys, I really wanted it to be it. I wanted it to pull me in. There was multiple POV for this book. I'm not going to give you any spoilers away. There are 4 POVs that you follow. I stuck around for 2 POVs. Those are the only 2 characters that I cared about in this whole book. The other one was, why are you here? Like, you have no point, no thing in the plot but just to drive it forward a little bit. But it could have been done without you. The 4th one is just a very unlikable person. There are red tapes for me when it comes to books. Okay, guys, I said a spoiler, so I'm gonna cut that out. But that segment out that I just did. But that POV, all I got was weakness from it, and I don't like that. Like, I just was not interested in her POV. Like, when it came to her POV for the first part of the book, I felt like skimming it. I didn't even want to read it. I just wanted to go to the dialogue and then go out. Like, pick up the important parts and just go. But that book got a 3-star for me. That is the only rare occasion that a series starting book gets a 3-star for me, but I will still pick up the second one. Only because of the 2 POVs that I read this book for. I want to know what happens to them in the next book. That's why I'm getting the next book, but that's the only reason. And then the last book that I read was Queen Charlotte by Julia Quinn and Shonda Rhimes. This book, it was just perfect. Like, I wish, like, you understand why Queen Charlotte is the way she is by reading this book. You just read the book. You know exactly why. Or, I would say, or watch the show. But there are little pieces of the book that have a little bit more than the show did, so that's how it is. But it was just awesome. Okay, and the show had some more stuff than the book did. I'm speaking about Lady Danbury. If you know, you know. But other than that, the book was great. Now, for the other two books that I read were poetry collections. One I will put up on the screen because I cannot pronounce the author's name to save my life. But the title of the book is Blood Snow. It is a short poetry collection. It's like 79 pages, but it is really good. If you like metaphors, this is the book you want. The next one is On Love by Charles Bukowski. It's really good. I liked it. You really get to see his life through the poems because these poems date back years and like come to now, or when the last poem was written, and it shows the progression of like his daughter aging and his marriages, life, and how he lived it. It was very interesting to read, and all in all, it was a great read. I think I gave it a 3 on Goodreads, 3-star. Blood Snow, I think I gave it a 3 or a 2, but it's just because it wasn't my cup of tea. If I gave it a 2, it was because it's not my cup of tea, you know? It's just what it is. Alright, so that wraps up what I read for April. Now, I want to get into what my plans are for May. So, because I am going back to school, I started back to school late April. I'm going to be a little lenient on my book reads for this month. My library started a challenge called 2024 Reading Challenge, and they gave us these bookmarks. It's like Zillow bookmarks and prompts, like 12 prompts on them, so a book a month. And you put your name and phone number on the back, and you fill out the books that you use for the prompts, and you check them off when you're done reading them. I have 3 books left to read. Basically all the 8 that I did read was on it, so they might only have 10 prompts because I only had 10 prompts. I have 3 books right there, 2 books right there, and 1 in there to read for it. So yeah, I only had 10 prompts because one of them was they were all on there, so it was 11 prompts. You know what? I might be wrong. I might be missing a book, or I just can't think about it. Anyway, so the books that I'm reading currently is The Midnight Dance by Nikki Katz. This one was a prompt filled by getting a librarian to request a book, like to give you a book recommendation. That was that one. That was that prompt. So it's a short book, but if I were to choose a book, that wouldn't have been a book that I would choose for myself. But it's only 311 pages, so I'm gonna read it anyway. And then the next book that I have over there, which I'm really excited about, I've already started, is T.J. Klune and Lives of it. I like it so far. I think I'm 2 or 3 chapters in. It's really good. So what I'm doing with those two is I'm reading 100 pages of the T.J. Klune book, and then I'm going and reading 100 pages of Nikki Katz's book. And then the next book on the prompt list was Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. And that is the first book of the League of Extraordinary Women. I want to get into that series, so I'm going to read that one after one of those books is done. And I have a couple other books that I want to read, but I don't think I'm going to put them like on a TBR list. I may tell you a couple more that I think that I can fit on, because that's just 3 books, and I think that I can do more than 3 books. So one of the books that I'm going to read is Glass by Allie Hopkins. That is the next book in the Crane series. I've got that one over there. And then I'm going to read another one because I might end up DNFing the book. It's called Black Leopard and Red Wolf by Marion James. I might end up DNFing it because another booktuber that I watch, Becca in the Books, which I'll link her channel below, she read it and she said it was disgusting. Just ultimately disgusting. And she got 180 pages in, and it's like a 600-page book. So if it's truly that disgusting and I can't look past it, I might end up DNFing it. So I think I'm going to start that one after I'm done with Glass, just so I can figure out if I'm going to DNF it or not. But other than that, I have a couple other books that I have on the back burner just in case. Like I have Holly by Stephen King. I am really trying to give Stephen King a chance, guys, because now y'all know that I read The Gunslinger last year. It wasn't my cup of tea. I just didn't like it. But I don't know if that's just Stephen King's style of writing or if that was the story. So I'm going to give Holly a try by Stephen King and see if his more horror books are more my style of what I want to read. And then I have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And if you don't know who Andy Weir is, he's the one that wrote The Martian, which was made into a movie. And oh my gosh, my fiance loves that movie, and I'll put a picture of The Martian up here and a picture of Project Hail Mary up here too, and I'll do a picture of all the books. So I'm kind of excited to read that one. They said it's kind of similar, but not really. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have Beartown by Frederick Backman. This is the first book in the Beartown series. This was actually a recommendation from another booktuber that I watch, and I will link her below. I'm excited to read it just to see if it's my style, because it's multiple POV, like multiple characters in this town. So I'll see how it goes. And then I got 2 smaller books. One is Looking for Alaska by John Green. This is a YA book, but it is really tiny, teeny tiny. And I had binge watched that whole show on Hulu, so your girl was already in the zone for it. I picked it up to put it on my TBR multiple times, but never got a chance to read it. And then We have the second book in A Gossip Girl, You Know You Love Me, by, I always butcher her name, so I'm just going to put her book up here. The picture of the book up here, so you guys can see the author title and stuff. Author name and title. And then I have Night World by L.J. Smith. This is the first book of the Night World series, so we'll see how that goes, guys, because that does sound like a lot of books, but it's not really. I also have 2 books that I need to finish that are around the 50% mark. I have One Night in Heartswood by Emma Denning. I don't know what is holding me up, guys, from finishing this book. This book has been on. I've been reading this book since February. I need to finish this book and get it out of here because I'm exactly 50% in. I am like 170 something pages in. I just need to finish it. I don't want to DNF. It's like a soft DNF already. I'm really upset about it. And then we have, the only reason that I'm not finishing this book is because it is the end of an era. And I don't know if I want that era to end yet. It is the last book in the Horde Kings of the Car series by Zoe Draven. And this is Throne of the Horde King. Guys, I don't know if I want it to end. That's why I've been putting it off. I've been reading like little chapter increments here and there. But I got to the 50% mark of it, and I'm like, I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end, but it is. It's great. It's gonna be easy, a 4-star book, but I just don't want it to end. So I'm at 57% right now. I just don't want it to end, guys. I just don't. Okay, sue me. But other than that, that's really the only reading update I got for you guys. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me, and stay tuned because I will be having a little writing vlog kind of thing. I got some ideas in the works for that, and I will keep you guys updated. Bring it in for a hug, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it. Right.